What's good, family? What's good, family? It's your boy, Urban Sports Guru. I want to give you my recap from week one. This is my week for NFL football season, week one recap. That's a tongue twister. I know, it's fucking me up. But my recap from week one, we started off this week with the Cowboys at Tampa. Tampa looked sloppy, and I think they're going to have to make a move with that the running back. I'm forgetting his name, Jones. I think they got to make a move. I don't think they can have him starting anymore. You got Leonard for that now. He's I know he gets carries, but Ronald Jones gets the bulk of the carries. Had nearly brought about close to 1,000 last year. I think you have to go primarily now with Leonard for that because he protects the football. Ronald Jones doesn't protect the football, and he drops passes. This was his issue last year, fumbling and dropping passes. You went and got a pass catching back, Shady McCoy. Went and did that. Then you have Fournette. They're gonna have to be your key because turnovers. This probably is not a close game without the turnovers. Um, we know the Bucks secondary is average. Is average. They have a great pass rush. And we got those two tackles and those two great inside the best pair of linebackers in the game. So it's really tough to run the football in them. But teams that can throw the football, if you can protect enough up front, you can throw the football on them. You can. So Cowboys show good. Dak looked really, really good. He looked really, really good. And the defense didn't look bad. They looked opportunistic, which is saying something. Then we got the Eagles against the Falcons. Everyone's looking at that Falcons tight end. And basically, by the end of the year, I think he's going to start looking like that tight end they got in Vegas. I'm forgetting his name right now, but give us some time. This is his first game. The Eagles still have some players on their defense, particularly up front. They can still get after the quarterback. And Arthur Smith's first game. Falcons are not a great team, and they just seem to play with more effort defensively. But Jalen Hurts looked good too. Jalen Hurts, that offensive line, they got both tackles in and they're healthy. Kelsey's in, he's healthy. I'm not gonna say the Eagles are gonna run away with the division. I don't go in there. Not after week one, but it's a wide open division. It is because every team has major deficiencies. Then we have Pittsburgh, and I told y'all in my yearly previews my concern for Buffalo is were they going to give Josh Allen enough of a running game? And you already see it in week one. They had a 10-point lead, and they're still throwing. Josh Allen threw the ball 51 times when he didn't have to. Played with a lead most of the game. He's throwing the ball 51 times. That shouldn't be that way. Far too much. Far too much when you're playing with the lead. And doing that created the opportunities for Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh was optimistic. The defense was on point, but they did a good job of not giving up big plays. There were some other big plays that Josh Allen missed. However, that Pittsburgh offensive line moving forward has to do better. You know, Najee Harris had no room to run. And yes, they are going against a stout Buffalo defense, but they got to do better than that. But it's a really good one for Pittsburgh to be able to go into Buffalo and win. Very good win. Next, we have the Bengals winning at home against Minnesota. I think these are evenly matched teams. It's a big win for Cincinnati to be able to beat a talented team like that. Very big win for them. The biggest issue for Cincinnati is can you protect Joe Burrow? Because when you protected him, he's deadly accurate, and Jamar Chase automatically showed why they drafted him. Look like the same Jamar Chase we saw at LSU. Him and Joe Burrow hooking up, no problem. As far as Minnesota, their pass defense, their secondary is not what it used to be a couple of years ago. It just isn't. Their secondary is not what it used to be. And they can get after the quarterback some, but they're gonna give up big plays on the back end. Um, that's the issue with that team. Offensively, Dalvin Cook didn't dominate, but it's week one. Let's not overreact. Minnesota at most I see is a fringe playoff team at best. At best, they'll probably be 79. They'll probably be 7-10, something like that. That's what I see. And for Cincinnati, if they're 7-10. That's a win. That's an upgrade. So think about it. Now we have the 49ers. 49ers was doing what they had to do, and then they basically just pissed it away. And the game got close, but they still hung on for a win. They had to shore up some things. They lost a couple more guys due to injury. That secondary is decimated. Jared Goff took advantage. Um, but they're gonna have to continue to try to play mistake-free football. But defensively, the front seven is that's a damn good front seven they have in San Francisco. They can get after the quarterback. They can stop the run. I think they'll be good moving forward. Cardinals, wow. I'm listening to all these pundits talk about the game Chandler Jones had. And what no one's talking about is who he did it against. One of the things I noticed is there were a lot of teams, and I've noticed it the last couple of years because of the way they do preseason now and training camps. There were a lot of teams where you could see they weren't ready to play football. I noticed my Giants was like that. I noticed the Packers were like that. I noticed Tennessee was like that. There was a lot of teams that were not ready to play football. And what impressed me so much about Chandler Jones, what he did, Chandler Jones has been a beast for a long time. It's not news. It's who he did it against. Taylor Lewan. Taylor Lewan is a multi-time Pro Bowler who's getting big money already. He didn't do this against a scrub. He did this against a stud. That's what impressed me. And Taylor Lewan, he had to own it. Got my ass kicked today. I'll be better. He had to hold that down. Now, Arizona Cardinals playing the way they did, Kyler Murray playing the way they did, got people thinking they can go all the way, and they did look that good. My only reservation, can they give Kyler Murray enough of a running game? Can they protect him enough? Can they protect him enough? Because unlike Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray can throw. He can make plays throwing the football without scattering around like that. The problem is he does a good job of not getting hit, but when he gets nicked up a little bit, everything goes to shit. And we saw it last year. That's my concern. And the defense looked better than I expected it to look. Not just Chandler Jones, the way they looked stout up front and stopping the run. They consistently do that. Yes, they're in my top 5 right now. And they can and will stay in my top 5 if consistently they can be that good against the run. Because the offense is going to score points. The offense has a bunch of targets. I like that. Then we have Seattle against the Colts. Sometimes we just take Russell Wilson for granted because this is what he does. And this is what happens with anything when you're consistent. And that's what Russell Wilson is. He's consistent. He consistently puts foot to ass, 4 touchdown passes, one of, if not the best deep ball thrower in football. And very impressed with the way the defense played. Very impressed with the way the defense played up front, getting after the quarterback. Colts did not look like they were ready to play football. Because one thing the Colts do is protect the quarterback. Guess what? They didn't do that week 1. Let's see what they do moving forward. Chargers against Washington. I'm not surprised by the score. I'm not surprised by anything that happened. I'm not surprised that Ryan Fitzpatrick got hurt. That also happens in his career. Justin Herbert does what he does. Threw the ball 47 times. They're going to have to give him a running game. please give this kid a running game. Don't make the mistake that Buffalo's doing with Josh Allen, putting everything on him. Give the kid a running game. Please give this kid a running game. Yes, they have a better O-line, but give him a running game. Don't put everything on him, and you'll have better success as a team. Jets and Panthers. I told y'all Panthers I'm a sleeper team. They took care of the Jets as expected. Sam Darnold looked good. And the Jets' young quarterback, their rookie quarterback, he looked much better in the second half. Getting more familiar, getting more reps. But the Panthers, I was impressed by how they looked defensively, even though that's a rookie quarterback in his first start. Let's see how they move next week. But everything pretty much went to plan in that game. The following game, however, the Texans versus the Jaguars, I'm really concerned that Urban Meyer is going to end up fucking up his young quarterback. It's a big concern of mine. I don't want to alarm bells at the only 1 week, but I always say where you get drafted at matters. And the fact that you're getting drafted to a rookie coach coming from college, and he's already made some, just call it his bonehead mistakes the other coaches wouldn't have made. It has me worried. Then we have the Chiefs at the Browns. One of the best games this weekend. Then one of the best games this weekend. The Browns should have won this game. Straight up. The Browns have a better roster. They should have won this game. But the Browns ain't got 15. I expect the Chiefs O-line. The Chiefs O-line by the end of the season. They played decent against a damn good front in Cleveland. I expect them to be even better come the end of the season, come playoff time. And they're just going to need more production from their other receivers, other pass catching targets. They're going to need more production. McCall Hardman, where are you? They're going to need more. They're going to need more help. Point blank period, they need more help. Now we have the Dolphins at Patriots. Close game as expected. Patriots driving down for a game-winning touchdown. This motherfucker fumbles. I told y'all the Patriots remind me a lot of those early Super Bowl teams they had in New England with Tom Brady. But those teams understood you have to play mistake-free football and live off of your opponent's mistakes. That's what happened. Miami ate off of New England's mistake. New England needed to eliminate those little mistakes and eat off their opponent's mistakes, much like those previous teams did. Now we have the Saints at the Packers. Jameis Winston looked very good. Looking very good, no way around it. The front looked good, but the Green Bay didn't look like they were ready to play. They didn't. They really did not look like they were ready to play football. So when they played a team that was physical, smacked them in the mouth, and they never responded. Thank God it's only week 1. But it's a bad sign coming into the year, especially when you got hopes. Especially you got hopes of winning a Super Bowl. Then we got my Broncos and my Giants. Giants did not look ready to play football, particularly the defensive end. It's on the defensive end because, we know how bad that O-line is. That O-line is terrible. And at times they look decent. But defensively, you can't get off the field. The biggest issue with this game wasn't the offensive line. The biggest issue was the fact that, the defense couldn't get off the field. And it annoyed me because you're playing this crackerjack box of an offense they have with Denver. Like, everything they was doing was simple and predictable, and you still couldn't get off the field. Patrick Graham, get these motherfuckers ready to play. Bottom line, get them ready to play. Rams at the Bears. I got Rams in my top 5. Matthew Stafford did not disappoint. He did exactly what I expected of him. And it's not just what he was able to do on play action, it's what he was able to do in the straight drop back game that I anticipated, what he did. It's a bad matchup for Chicago because of that Rams front. They were able to run the ball pretty decently, but once they got behind, it didn't matter. Now, as far as them starting Justin Fields, I understand, and I said this before. When they first drafted Justin Fields, the narrative was Matt Nagy's going to rush him in there to save his job. He didn't do that. He's not doing that. And the sad part is Matt Nagy's doing this to protect the kid, and he's not going to reap the benefits of it because he's getting fired. He's getting fired. And the sad part is he's doing what's best for Justin Fields' future, but they have a team that can make the playoffs now. So every single year, you see how some young quarterbacks are ruined. You see it every year. And he's trying to protect Justin Fields from that. Because offensively, it's not a really good team. But my only question is, what was Chicago's goal coming into the season? What was the goal? Because if the goal was to make the playoffs, you need to be starting Justin Fields. If the goal was just to develop Justin Fields, then I get it. The problem is they got a whole defense of studs. They lost studs throughout the years, but they still got a whole defense worth of studs. Still paying Robert Quinn, still paying Khalil Mack. Hicks is in the contract year. The linebacker, Roquan Smith, and they got a bunch of guys there on the defensive side who would want to push for a playoff run. Allen Robinson, he's the one stud they got on offense. He want to push for a playoff run. Figure it out, Chicago. Figure it out. Raiders and the Ravens. Raiders pulled out a great win in OT last night. Both teams did things to win and lose the game, and eventually the Raiders come away with a win. My thing pulling out of that game is the Raiders need more help from their wide receivers. You drafted Henry Ruggs. I'm watching the game. I'm like, Henry Ruggs, where are you? I saw you one deep ball. That's about it. Everything was Darren Waller. Because none of you guys are beating press coverage. Why is he the only one that can beat press coverage and you run 4-2 in your sleep? Everything doesn't have to be a goal route, crossing routes. You heard the Mannings talking about it. Do something. If Derek Carr can get more help from his receivers, they can probably sniff the playoffs because their defense is a lot better, as I told you it would be. Ravens, however, they got problems. Lamar Jackson has sometimes looked better. He looked better at certain times, but I seen they did a lot of straight drop back, and them doing straight drop back was giving the Raiders chances to go at them, and they was getting there with 4. They was abandoning the run more than what they would normally do. And that's because of all the injuries they have. Ravens got a lot to figure out. They got KC next week. They got a lot to figure out. My top 5: Tampa, Chiefs, Arizona, Tampa, Chiefs, Arizona, LA, the Rams, and Seattle. Those are my top 5. Let me know what you think. Your boy, Urban Sports Guru. I'm out. Salute.